Aloha everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about the EarFun Free 2 true wireless earbuds that come in under 50 bucks, but really give you about the $100 price range earbuds experience for not so much money. I'm talking about IPX7 wireless charging on the case, long battery life, but not only that, a low latency mode that hits under 60 milliseconds. This is TK and this is the EarFun Free 2. Let's check them out. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so you're notified whenever we have new videos on the channel. So this is the EarFun Free 2 true wireless earbuds. This is the actual pairs themselves inside of their case. As far as some of the main benefits that we're looking here, we have the Qualcomm AptX audio tech. That's going to be the AptX HD here that we get there. And of course, immersive sound, 60 millisecond low latency, and there's an option here to turn that on with the left earbud. And of course, touch control, which is again another feature. As far as the actual configuration, what we get in the box, so we get the earbuds themselves, the case, 3 different ear tips, small, medium, and large, a USB-C cable to charge, as well as a user manual. And of course, as I mentioned, AptX audio codec support. We have balanced immersive sound with dynamic composite drivers, of course, 60 millisecond low latency mode that you can turn it on for better gaming and video. Basically intuitive touch controls plus volume control, which is actually built in, and IPX7 water resistance for exercise. So it's going to definitely be able to handle any kind of, I would say basically exercise mode that you're able to jump into. Up to 30 hours of playtime, 7 hours plus 23 in the box. Although I'll probably say this is more about 5 hours or so, compared depending on the volume level that you're on. Meaning if you play your volume higher than 50%, and obviously this is where most of us are, so I fall around the 60 to 70%, that battery life tends to drop a little bit. But again, still should be able to last you through a day. And the case could carry you for the rest of the day. So when you're not using them, you could put the case on a wireless charger, keep that case topped off, and of course put the buds in there when you're done or when you're taking breaks, and then we topped off the buds to get you the best battery life. Now the one thing they do mention here at the bottom is essentially if you do end up getting it submerged, make sure you dry it out pretty quickly so that it actually does basically last longer. It is IPX7 rated, but it is not intended to be sitting in water for much longer. So if you do, make sure you clean it up. The box itself is pretty standard. The buds typically come basically outside of the actual case, and then you pretty much just use them the way they are right there. They do provide you with the cable and the additional ear tips in here. I did end up swapping the ear tips for the larger size for myself, mostly because I felt like the small ones or the medium ones that they include initially did not fit me quite well. Instruction manual is in here, and that will cover all of the different modes. If you triple tap the right ear, we go to next track. Same thing on the left, we go to previous track. Volume up is actually a single tap on the right. Volume down is a single tap on the left. As far as answering and hanging up calls, so basically just a double tap on the ears, and of course the same thing to start and pause music, rejecting calls. And as far as just to be able to turn on low latency mode, it's pretty simple. Press and hold the left earbud for 2 seconds, and low latency mode gets either activated or deactivated. Keeping in mind though that if you do turn on low latency mode, your range of distance between you and the phone does get shortened, as well as the battery end up basically being depleted faster, as it's actually sending more information and trying to keep it more consistent. Pressing and holding the right earbud will launch the assistant, which is definitely very nice. So assistant, volume control, play and pause, a whole bunch of different configurations. One thing to mention though is that we don't have a way of changing these, as there is no app support for the earphones. So all of this configuration will work with any device that you're using, because that's exactly it. They're pretty much coded directly into the ear tips themselves. Now, as you saw before, the word EarFun is what we have, USB-C connection. This is going to be basically the pairing button. Pressing and holding this when the earbuds are in the case will put the earbuds into a pairing mode, so you can pair them to the next device. There's no simultaneous connection, so only one device at a time, but if you have them paired to multiple devices and you just want to be able to switch, so just select the actual earbuds from the Bluetooth setting of the device that you're using, and it will switch to whatever the one is trying to basically pair to it directly. So very easy. The case itself and the case itself is not magnetic, although it does have somewhat of a snap, so if you just do this, it doesn't fall off. And of course, the buds themselves don't fall off. They are magnetically connected here. We have the word earbud or EarFun on each one of them. This one's going to be obviously the right ear tip, 4-pin connector to be able to charge. I did put in the large ear tip that we have in here, and then you can see here the driver or the opening for the actual driver in there. And of course, we have one of the microphones sitting at the bottom right there. Charging them directly, combined full usage is about 30 hours. I would say more like close to 27 to 30 hours. The buds themselves can go up to 7 hours rated, or basically 5 hours, depending on the volume level that you're using. Now, as far as the fit, it's pretty standard. These are the type of basically earbuds that you just put in directly into your ears. We'll go and put them in. And because of the darker color that we have on them, it's not as easily noticed directly in our ears, but they definitely fit very nicely and they sit, at least for me, directly in my ear very comfortably. Just make sure you're using the right ear tip. Now, configuration, as I said, you can pair it directly with your smartphone and then you could just connect it and use it the way you want. Now, it does support Qualcomm's AptX technology, which means we should be able to get pretty decent audio experience. Now, for this, I like to use Amazon Music because it tells me exactly what bitrate and what quality of audio it's playing with the Bluetooth connected device that we're listening to. So the track that you have in front of you right there, I'm going to go ahead and start it. I'm just going to double tap, and that's going to go ahead and start the music. One tap. And as you see right there, I'm actually able to control the volume on the phone by tapping it. This is very important, especially if you're listening to music, and it helps you actually enjoy the music without necessarily having to go back to the phone and raise the volume, especially because if you're not running low latency mode, you're able to actually go to pretty decent distance. Like across the house for me worked pretty good with the Bluetooth 5.2 that we have in here. One thing to keep in mind, if you want to turn on low latency, all you have to do is press and hold the left ear tip. And then you hear basically just a small little, basically a notification says low latency on. If you want to turn it off, you do the exact same thing. It'll say no, low latency off. And this is going to obviously be great when you're playing games or watching movies if you notice that there's any issue. Although for me, I pretty much just turn it on whenever I'm playing games. Now, as far as the audio and the assistant, if I do the exact same, basically press and hold for 2 seconds on the right ear tip, you notice that right there that the assistant actually does kick up on the device. So very simple, and this will work the exact same way if you're using it with an iOS device. It will launch it. Whatever default assistant you have is what it actually essentially, it'll basically trigger for you to use. And you're able to talk right away and then interact with. If you want to play music, take a selfie, whatever you want, it'll work perfectly fine. Now, let's talk about the audio performance. So if you guys have ever used EarFun earbuds before, you'll know right out of the box that these are definitely tuned to be a little bit bass heavy. So they're definitely focused to be more on the popular type of music. So hip hop, bass heavy music, trance, dance, anything that usually will have a nice little thump. And they actually deliver quite well. So if this is the type of music or the sound profile that you usually like to configure your earbuds, this is definitely going to help. If your phone does not have a built-in EQ like Dolby Atmos, like the S21 Ultra or some of the other devices on the market, there isn't really much we could do to change this profile. And what I mean by this, there's no app to support this, so that's one of the limitations that we see here. Out of the box, with the way the configuration this is set, I like the way the audio sounds, but it also provides me that experience. So for dance and EDM, which is 90% of the music I like to listen to, this is definitely going to get delivered. But it's also not going to basically overwhelm the mids and highs. So the audio, the vocals, the mids and highs are going to definitely still be pronounced, but definitely with a much stronger presence on the bass side. So I like to listen to it, and if you definitely like to listen to bass heavy music, this is definitely just going to feed it right away. Battery life and connectivity is pretty decent. Just keep in mind that if you do turn on low latency mode, your connectivity tends to be a little bit shorter, meaning the distance between you and the phone does get limited, as it actually intends to send more I guess it needs a stronger connection between the earbuds and the phone itself. If you want to be able to go to the long distance and still get pretty decent audio, you're definitely going to be happy. And speaking of which, here under the audio that we're listening to, what you're looking at right here is essentially the track that we were just listening to a second ago. Now, as you can see here, the device can support all the way up to 24-bit, 48 kilohertz. And the track that we were listening to on Amazon HD was able to shoot at 24-bit as well as 41 kilohertz. So definitely not pushing the limit of this. But again, you should still be able to enjoy the content here with SBC and AAC support on this device. So if you're looking for a pair of earbuds on a budget that give you good sound with definitely more of a bass profile, a bass forward profile, that still does a good job with mids and highs and lows. And of course, this I think provides us a good experience. They connect with almost any device. The functions that we showed you guys, or that I showed you earlier, will work with any smartphone because they're hard-coded to the earbuds themselves. There's no app to configure, nothing to be able to change. So pause, play, volume up, volume down, launching the assistant, again, Android and iOS, as well as the ability of turning on low latency mode for watching movies. And to top all of this is, again, IPX7 water resistance on here, so that if you go for your workout, you're outdoors, it starts raining, you don't have to worry about it. The one thing I would probably say is, again, what they mentioned in the box, make sure you dry them off and don't let them sit in the water for too long, as that could damage the coating that they have on them. But other than that, great pair of earbuds for a great price. Let me know what you guys think of the EarFun Free 2. Is this a pair of buds that you've used? Have you used the EarFun brand before? They have, obviously, there's the Pro model, and last year we did a review for you guys for the EarFun, the original EarFun Free. So definitely a good series, a lot of bang for the buck, and again, low latency, wireless charging, long battery life, great sound, and of course, just so much more for not so much. Thank you very much for the support. Like and subscribe as usual. And of course, I'll see you in the next video.